There are moments in history when the world holds its breath, when the actions of a single nation shape the destiny of many. Today, we stand on the edge of such a moment. The choices America makes in the days ahead will not just define its own future, but may unlock the unstoppable rise of India. This is not just politics, it is prophecy in motion, the unfolding of a greater plan. Stay with me, because what we uncover together is more than analysis. It is revelation, a vision of power, destiny, and the shifting balance of a new world. History has a way of teaching the same lesson over and over again. The downfall of great powers often begins not with weakness, but with overconfidence. When a nation believes it is too powerful to be challenged, it begins to make decisions not out of wisdom, but out of arrogance. America, standing tall as one of the most dominant forces in modern history, faces the same temptation. The belief that its actions will always shape the future, without consequence, can blind it to the rise of others who are quietly building strength. Overconfidence leads to underestimating rivals. It convinces leaders that smaller nations cannot rise, that emerging economies will never truly threaten the established order. But time and again, history proves otherwise. Rome, the British Empire, and many others fell not simply because they were attacked from outside, but because they ignored the warning signs within. They dismissed the potential of those they thought to be weaker. In the same way, if America begins to underestimate India, believing its dominance to be untouchable, that miscalculation could spark a shift no one saw coming. India today is not the India of the past. It is a country of over 1 billion people, equipped with ambition, talent, and a vision for the future. Overconfidence may cause America to overlook just how quickly India is moving forward, expanding its industries, fortifying its military, and strengthening its diplomatic reach. A single misjudgment made in the shadow of pride could be the very spark that allows India to break free of limitations and step into a new era of unstoppable influence. Sanctions are often used as tools of power. They are designed to weaken an opponent, to isolate them, and to remind the world who sets the rules. For decades, America has wielded sanctions against nations it views as rivals, believing that cutting them off from resources, trade, or global finance would bring them to their knees. But the truth is, sanctions are a double-edged sword. They can cause damage in the short term, but they also force nations to adapt, innovate, and eventually become stronger than before. If America chooses to impose sanctions or restrictions on India, believing it can slow down its rise, it may instead trigger the exact opposite effect. India is already building its own technological backbone, expanding its manufacturing capabilities, and exploring trade networks that do not depend on American approval. Sanctions would only accelerate these efforts. When one door closes, others open. India could deepen its ties with Russia for energy, strengthen its economic relations with the Middle East for resources, and partner with Africa and Southeast Asia for markets. What was meant to cripple India could instead create a web of new alliances that expand its global reach. Sanctions also fuel self-reliance. When external access is denied, internal innovation becomes a necessity. India's young population, its vast pool of engineers, and its entrepreneurial spirit thrive under challenge. Attempts to restrict access to technology or financial systems may ignite a wave of local solutions, making India less dependent on external powers in the long run. The very act of trying to contain India could become the catalyst that pushes it toward becoming unstoppable. The sharp edge of sanctions cuts both ways, and in this case, the wound might not be India's to bear. The story of India's economy is no longer one of potential. It is one of momentum. With a population surpassing 1.4 billion, India holds not just numbers but the energy of a young, ambitious workforce. It is one of the fastest growing major economies in the world, steadily carving out its place as a hub of innovation, production, and global trade. Every year, millions of new professionals enter the workforce, bringing with them fresh ideas, technological skills, and entrepreneurial drive. This surge of human capital is shaping India into an economic powerhouse that cannot be ignored. America's missteps, whether in trade policies or geopolitical strategies, could serve as accelerants for this growth. Attempts to restrict Indian industries or influence global markets might simply inspire India to diversify, invest more heavily in self-reliance, and seek out partners who are ready to engage without conditions. Already, India is boosting its manufacturing sector through initiatives like Make in India, strengthening its digital infrastructure and leading the way in sectors like pharmaceuticals, information technology, and space exploration. The momentum is clear. India is building not for today, but for decades ahead. Global corporations are recognizing this shift. Investment is flowing into India's cities, creating new industries and expanding markets. With a growing middle class hungry for better opportunities and a higher standard of living, consumption within India itself fuels even greater economic resilience. Every step America takes to challenge India could, in reality, push India to stand taller, trade smarter, and innovate faster. The rise of India's economy is not dependent on permission from anyone. It is a force powered by its people, its industries, and its vision of the future. Any attempt to block it may only feed its determination to surge forward with greater speed. In today's interconnected world, no nation can thrive in isolation. Alliances, trade networks, and partnerships shape the balance of power. India understands this truth deeply, and it has been steadily expanding its reach far beyond its borders. If America makes the mistake of alienating India, the natural outcome will not be India's isolation. It will be India's redirection. Rather than depending on a single superpower, India has the opportunity to weave together relationships across Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and even Latin America, forming a network of influence that reshapes the global stage. Partnerships with Russia already give India access to energy resources, advanced defense systems, and political leverage. Closer ties with the Middle East secure vital oil supplies while opening new markets for Indian businesses. Africa, with its growing population and untapped resources, presents India with opportunities for investment, infrastructure projects, and cultural exchange. Even Southeast Asia is looking to India as a counterbalance to rising tensions in the Pacific, making partnerships in trade and security increasingly attractive. These relationships are not just transactional, they are strategic. They allow India to diversify its dependencies, build resilience against external pressure, and strengthen its role as a mediator between competing global blocs. The more America attempts to box India in, the more India is likely to seek strength in unity with others. This creates an environment where India is not reacting to isolation, but actively shaping a new order where multiple centers of power exist. Every handshake, every agreement, and every alliance built outside of America's sphere of influence adds weight to India's growing stature. Instead of being weakened by restrictions, India can emerge at the heart of a vast web of partnerships, commanding influence across continents and reshaping the world map of power. At the heart of India's rise lies a force stronger than armies and larger than markets, its technology and talent. With one of the youngest populations in the world, India is sitting on a reservoir of human potential that continues to reshape industries across the globe. Its engineers design software for international corporations, its scientists lead groundbreaking research, and its entrepreneurs launch startups that compete on the world stage. From Silicon Valley to Bengaluru, Indian talent is a driving force behind the digital age. If America chooses to restrict India's access to certain technologies, thinking it can slow down progress, it may actually spark a greater wave of innovation within India itself. Barriers often create breakthroughs. When resources are limited, creativity becomes sharper. India has already shown this in fields like space exploration, where it successfully launched missions at a fraction of the cost compared to other nations. The same determination is visible in pharmaceuticals, renewable energy, and artificial intelligence, where Indian innovators continue to surprise the world with cost-effective and scalable solutions. Beyond the individual brilliance of its people, India's strength lies in its sheer numbers. Millions of young professionals graduate each year, eager to prove themselves and contribute to the nation's growth. This vast pool of talent ensures that no external restriction can permanently hold back India's progress. Instead, challenges become fuel, pushing India to invest more in its universities, research centers, and technology hubs. Technology is the engine of the future, and India is already building it with speed and vision. Attempts to contain its talent or deny it access to global resources will only reinforce its determination to stand on its own, creating systems and solutions that the world cannot ignore. Pressure has a way of shaping nations. When external forces attempt to weaken or control a country, it often sparks something much stronger than division. It ignites unity. India is no stranger to this truth. Throughout its history, every attempt to suppress its spirit has only strengthened its resolve. From colonial struggles to modern challenges, India has proven that adversity has the power to bring its people together in ways prosperity alone cannot. If America makes the mistake of targeting India through political pressure, trade restrictions, or diplomatic isolation, the result may not be compliance, it may be consolidation. Citizens who may debate within their borders often set aside differences when faced with a common challenge from the outside. National pride grows deeper, and the idea of standing tall against external pressure becomes a unifying force. This unity, once awakened, can drive both the government and the people to act with renewed determination. India's strength lies not only in its numbers, but in the diversity of those numbers. Multiple languages, religions, and traditions coexist within its borders, and while this can create friction, it also provides resilience. When pressed from the outside, that very diversity turns into solidarity, with every group contributing its own strength to a shared vision of independence and progress. Economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, or military posturing can all have one unintended outcome. They can fuel patriotism on a scale that no campaign could manufacture. When the people of a nation feel their future is being challenged, they rise together. And in a country as vast and determined as India, unity under pressure can transform into a force powerful enough to shift the course of history. The world is witnessing a shift that has been building quietly for decades. The center of gravity in global power is moving eastward. For much of modern history, the West, led by America, has dictated the flow of trade, politics, and innovation. But today, Asia is rising, and India stands at the heart of this transformation. If America makes a critical mistake in its dealings with India, it may accelerate this shift, creating a world where influence is no longer dominated by a single superpower, but shared among emerging leaders. India's growing role in international organizations, its expanding trade routes, and its diplomatic outreach demonstrate a clear trajectory. It is no longer content to play a secondary role in global affairs. By forming strategic alliances, building economic partnerships, and asserting itself on issues like climate change, security, and technology, India is positioning itself as a voice that cannot be ignored. This transformation is not about replacing one superpower with another, but about creating a balance where multiple centers of power exist. America's miscalculation, whether through sanctions, neglect, or political pressure, could hasten this process. By attempting to limit India's rise, it may instead encourage India to deepen its leadership in forums like BRICS, the G20, and regional partnerships across Asia and Africa. Such moves shift global narratives away from Western dominance toward a more multipolar world order. The ripple effects of this shift would be profound. Trade patterns would evolve, security alliances would realign, and technological collaboration would flow through new channels. In this rebalanced order, India would not just be a participant, but a central architect. The mistake of underestimating India's role could very well be the catalyst that cements its place as an unstoppable force in shaping the century ahead. The truth is clear. Every misstep by America may not weaken India, but instead fuel its rise. Overconfidence, sanctions, economic pressure, and diplomatic isolation will not stop a nation driven by talent, unity, and vision. India stands at the threshold of history, ready to transform challenges into stepping stones. The world is shifting, and those who fail to see it will be left behind. Thank you for staying with me through this journey of insight and reflection. May we all learn from history, stand strong in the present, and move forward with courage. Good luck and God bless you.